So good morning, everyone.
Morning, Zente.
I hope you can hear the Kancho bell. We're about to start our regular Sunday service, and I'd like to welcome everyone. We're trying something a little different again today. We actually have a TV monitor in our Hondo because we have both people here in our Hondo live as well as you joining us. So letting them see all of you as well as we go on. Larry?
Yeah.
Can you hear Larry when he speaks? Larry, can you speak at one more
Hi
time?
there. Namamita Butsu. Okay, can you hear me now?
It's loud because of the Kancho.
Yeah.
So if I can ask you to please join me in Gasho now. Namanda.
Namanda.
What we're going to do this morning is we're going to begin again with a moment of silent meditation, followed by the recitation of the Nembutsu. So next what we're going to be doing is chanting the verses reaffirming the vows. And I'm going to just bring it up on the screen here. Yeah, the verses reaffirming the vows. It's on the red book. Namandops. Just see if I can explain that. I have made unrivaled vows and will reach the highest path. If I fail in any way, may I not should I not provide to all for countless kalpas to come, aid in times of suffering. May I not attain Buddhahood. I will reach enlightenment, but unless my Buddha name resounds throughout the universe, may I not attain Buddhahood. I will practice a noble path, wisely, mindfully, free of greed. Seek to reach the supreme way. Be a guide to one and all. May my power shine great light to illumine and dispel the darkness of the three poisons and save all from suffering. With eyes of wisdom I'll remove the darkness of ignorance. I will close all evil paths, open gates of highest good. When I attain Buddhahood, light will shine throughout all lands, light brighter than sun and moon, outshining all heavenly lights, giving my virtues to all, not forsaking anyone. I will proclaim the Dharma like the roar of a great lion, bowing before all Buddhas, steadfastly gaining virtues, wisdom fulfilling my life. I shall be a guide to all, like the wisdom of my teacher. May my wisdom also shine all throughout the universe and illumine one and all. If I shall fulfill these The virtue of Amita's vow is shared equally by all, together attaining awakened mind. We are born in the land of Namandogs, 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 Namandogs. Okay, let me just stop sharing this and I'm going to again mute you all, except I'm going to then now spotlight Jennifer and Jennifer, if you could unmute yourself only, so.
I'm unmuted now. Are you?
We could all hear you now. So today, as I mentioned, I think a couple weeks ago, we have as our guest my cousin from New York, Jennifer Oda. Jennifer is not an ordained minister, but she's the daughter of Reverend Harold Oda from LA. And Jennifer was a Dharma school teacher for a number of years as well in LA. And she asked if she could give a Dharma message. And so I said that I think it would be nice if she did share with us. So without any further ado, live from New York, here's Jennifer.
Hi, everybody. I just want to say thank you for that nice and gracious introduction. But I'm very humbled and honored to be here today. I'm not a minister. I haven't taken Kaikyoshi like my cousins Roland and Madi have. So I'm very, very honored to be here today. Secondly, I want to say a shout out to all of my cousins, my Ikuta cousins and my Sugimoto cousins. Grant and his siblings and my other cousins have always been like my older brothers and sisters to me, and I'm an only child. So the memories that I have with them growing up, as well as with my Sugimoto cousins and other cousins, are really, really invaluable. So I want to express some gratitude that they always took me in, and they always treated me like a little sister, and I always really, really valued that. So as Grant said, I live in New York City, and I'm actually a public school teacher here. And I thought I'd talk a little bit about that and that experience. My school is in Manhattan, and unlike schools in Canada, kids commute long distances to come to school in New York City. So some of my kids come from an hour away. It's really hard for them to wake up. It's really hard for them to get to school on time. A lot of the kids are really unmotivated. And so you need to have a 65% in order to pass the class and in order to get the class credit. And a lot of the kids are always like, Miss Oda, you know, what can I take? What does it take for me just to pass? Just to pass. So they don't want to get a 75 or an 80 or a 95. They just want the 65 and that's it. So even like before COVID, I was feeling a lot of frustrations in my job. Like I really love my job. I feel like I'm really born to be a teacher, but I would come home carrying all of these negative emotions with me. Like I would be sort of annoyed, I would feel kind of angry that these kids were so unmotivated. Sometimes I would even call their parents, and sometimes parents hung up on me. So, excuse me, New York voice. You know, and a lot of the parents were like, I just want my son or daughter to graduate from high school, and I just want them to go to work. So I had like this block of really negative emotions coming home every day. And then after COVID, we're doing online teaching, and it's very stressful.
Oh, Jennifer, sorry, I muted you accidentally. I tried to mute others. You have to unmute yourself again.
I think I got it. So, as I was saying, you know, after COVID, I felt really, it's been very difficult. Like a lot of these kids come from very insecure families. A lot of my kids are in foster care. So my anxiety with COVID and reaching out to these kids has gone sort of like through the roof. So, you know, to recap, I would say like, even before COVID, I felt a lot of anxiety. I felt a lot of anger. Now, after COVID, I feel worry for these kids. So you can see that I'm sort of like a ball of, you can see that all these emotions are very negative. So then I thought, you know, I'm going to make myself crazy if I continue to focus on these emotions. And so I wanted to see if Buddhism could offer any help here. So and I think it must, because you know Reverend Grant always looks very cheerful and happy, and he doesn't seem to be, you know, holding all of these negative emotions that I do. So clearly Buddhism must done something for my cousin. So you know, I'd like to emulate Reverend Grant. So I want to you know, I'd like to also be able to be as happy and as cheerful as Reverend Grant always seems to be. So I have this book called Buddha is as Buddha Does by Lama Suradas. And he's not Jodoshu. In fact, I think he was born in Brooklyn and was originally born in a Buddhist family, but turned to Tibetan Buddhism practice in order, and you know, eventually changed his name to a Tibetan name. So I was reading a passage that I thought was very good and comforting to me. So I wanted to share it with you in, you know, as I end my Dharma talk. So this is what he writes. He wrote, he talked about anger and anxiety, and he said, 1, breathe and visualize in harmony. Relax and focus your mind, centering yourself in the present moment. Then, just for a few seconds, flash on the Buddha as you understand it, the natural state of awareness, empty yet clear. Rest in this unborn, present awareness, the innate Buddha mind. Your mind is filled with nothing but pure warmth, peace, acceptance, as if it were a bright, empty sky. Breathe, relax, focus, and take it easy. Then start following your breath. Observe your breath. As you breathe in freely through your nose, visualize that you are vacuuming up dark smog that represents pure suffering and delusion. Hold your breath for just a brief moment, letting the smog dissolve completely in your vast, open mind. He continues. 2, be generous to yourself. Imagine yourself as having 2 parts. One part consists of all your suffering. The other part consists of your joy and love. And 3, in widening circles, expand your generosity beyond yourself to all sentient beings. After you've practiced awareness on yourself for a while, and you start to feel the healing energy of that work, shift your focus one step further beyond yourself to your loved ones, your family members and friends. Breathe in, and as you exhale, visualize sunlight and spring breezes, and affirm, may my family members and friends have all my joy, peace, wisdom, and love. Okay. So to conclude my sermon, I'd like to maybe read that last sentence again. As you exhale, silently resolve and affirm, may my family members and friends have all my joy, peace, wisdom, and love. So after reading these words, I felt a lot more at peace. And there are things that I can change, and there are things that I cannot change. And this helped me focus that down to feeling more clear about what I could change and clear about what I could not change. So once again, thank you very much again for listening to me. As I said, I'm very humbled just as a layperson being able to give the Dharma talk. So please join me in Gasho, and I'm going to turn this back to Reverend Grant. So, Namami Davs.
Namandavs, 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 namandavs. Okay. Thank you very much, Jennifer, for sharing that with us. As you can tell, we're trying different things weekly, and today we had a remote Dharma talk from my cousin Jennifer from New York. What I'd like to do, we're also trying something new today. We're actually going to have Genevieve Yuata, our organist, is going to play, and we're going to close the service with the singing of Ondok-san. Now, if you just give me a couple minutes, I'm going to bring up the words to Ondok-san onto the screen. So for those of you who are not familiar with it, you'll be able to follow along. So Genevieve, if you could just wait just a second as I bring this information up. Just a second, Genevieve. Well, I may not have this. Okay. So now I need to go back here and share. Okay, I believe you could see this, the words to this. I'll maybe zoom up on it a little bit. So. There we go. Okay, so now we'll have the singing of Ondok-san. So Genevieve, if I could ask you, please play the organ. 自主知識の音読も俺を砕きてもシャスべしNo one knows, no one knows, no one knows, no one knows.
No one knows.
I don't know how that sounded to everybody. It was something new again that we tried. And I'd like to again thank Jennifer for giving the Dharma message today. And actually next month, we haven't set the date yet, but my brother Roland from Lethbridge will be giving a Dharma message one of the Sundays in June. He's also a geriatric specialist there in Lethbridge, and I know he's very busy being on the front line of things. So, but he said that he would give a message sometime in June. So, with that, I'd like to close the service portion by reciting Gasho again. So please join me again in Gasho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo. If anybody has comments or suggestions, please feel free to email me. I'm going to unmute you all. So we have about 60 people joining right today. And I'd like to again thank all of you for taking the time to be with us on the Sunday morning. Did I not unmute you? Yeah, you're all unmuted now.
Yeah.
So,
5-minute service.
How many
So again-
people there?
if you do have comments or suggestions, please feel free to email me. I'd appreciate it.
Thanks, Brad.
Oh,
Thank you, Reverend Grant.
Thank you.
Reverend Grant.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Lots of people.
I think he's like this generation minister, grandfather, brother, and yeah, there must be 5 or 6.
So Jennifer, there's a question for you from Durgish.
I'll type the answer.
Okay. So Jennifer is actually texting the answer right now. There's a question about the publisher of the book that Jennifer introduced. So she's just putting that up. Buddha is as Buddha does by Lama Surya Das.
Forget it. He's like born Buddhist. I mean, born Jewish in Brooklyn, but became a Tibetan monk, I think. I
Okay.
teach 9th through 12th. So my 9th graders are like little, sort of nutty, lovable creatures. And the 12th graders are, I'm having a hard time convincing them in session. So I'm calling them, I'm texting them, I'm yelling at them. No, I'm just kidding. Yeah. No, I think COVID made everything worse because they don't really have any structure in their lives. So
That leave me.
kind of like their structure. And so, now they're up until like 2 in the morning, and then they sleep until noon. So I know that I can't really call them at like 9 a.m. because nobody's awake yet. So I think it's sort of like a self-motivation. These kids are by and large not really.
Well, it's 3 hours earliest.
Already. Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
Jennifer, I have daughters that are doing that, staying up till the all hours of the night and sleeping until much later. And
Yeah.
they claim that that's the teenager's natural cycle, rhythm.
So,
That's very good.
That's it, right?
Yeah, thank
Okay.
you.
Okay, so thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next week.
Reverend Grant.
Thank you.
Okay.
Have a nice day, everyone.
Have a nice week.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.